Hello, everyone. I gotta be so awkward with my hands. I don't know why, but there it is. I'm not gonna edit that because that's the awkwardness of me. Yay! All right, so jumping right in, I thought that this week would just be a little bit of a touch on the whole big idea of expectation. I know that we can talk about expectation in many different ways. And so I think it would be beneficial to kind of stop and just take a moment to really dissect what exactly I'm talking about when I'm talking about expectation. So there could be your own expectation. It could also be the expectation of the situation, or it could be other people's expectation on you. And so what I'm really talking about here is other people's expectation of me. And so when I'm using the word expectation, then from here on out, what I will be talking about is that specific little aspect of expectation, what other people are expecting of me. Now, I kind of recognize, that was the first thing that I recognize, is like, wait a minute, where is this expectation coming from? Is it really others that are putting this expectation on me? And the answer would be no, because yes, well, okay, let's parse that out a little bit. Sometimes there is a very obvious stated expectation. I would like you to be here at this time. Would you do this for me? Blah, blah, blah. There are some very concrete, specific things that people can share, and okay, so I can understand and accept that. But then there's these expectations that are unspoken. At least I feel like they're expectations, and this is where it comes to be a little bit more not really from other people. And so what ends up happening is, like, I feel like the others, people out there, people I interact with, my friends, my family, my coworkers, put a random stranger, I feel like they are expecting something of me, and so therefore I must do something to meet their expectations. And what I came to realize is that was me. I'm the one that is putting on these expectations. The person has not stated this expectation. So, okay, I recognize I am the source of these expectations. But then the question then comes, well, then why are they not my expectations? Why are they always put on someone else? Why am I always obsessed with the expectations and failing the expectations, failing either the spoken or the unspoken expectations? What is going on? Why am I so weird about it? I think would be a good way to say it, because it's not like I'm calm about it. I get super awkward around people when it comes to what they are expecting of me. And so what I finally, so after like kind of trying to think about it and taking some time and trying to write about it and trying to figure it out, it finally came to me. It was one of those waking up way too early. It just popped in my head. This seems kind of like NF kind of woo-woo to me, where it's like, the clouds are parting, and all of a sudden this comes to me. It almost feels like out of nowhere, this realization. And especially like as I'm waking up with this thought, it's like, what is going on here? My brain is working when I'm not even conscious of it, I guess. But in any case, what came to me is that I don't have my own standards. I don't have my own standards for myself. I cannot state, this is my standard for myself. I'm this kind of person. I'm that kind of person. I'm this kind of person. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm not really developing that. I'm still looking to others to tell me what kind of standard I should be holding on to. Now, it seems kind of weird because it's like, well, wait a minute. they're not really putting on the expectations. It's really you putting on the expectation on yourself. And it's like, well, aren't you really the one that has these expectations, these standards? But the best way I can say is that it's not really, it doesn't feel like it's coming from me. And it's not like I'm the one to be the final decision maker on these things. It's still pinging off of others to say, okay, what is it that my standard is? My standard is your standard. Why I need to look to others to see what standard I should be following, because I'm not exactly sure. I want to make sure that I'm accepted. So I'm gonna look to what is your standard, because maybe that should be my standard too. And it really came about when I was helping out at a school site recently, and it was just recently opened, and so kids were coming, and kids were, this was their first day back, and they were being able to kind of communicate and talk to each other and see each other, and just like, yay, we get to be in the same area as each other, and I missed you guys, and it's like a big, huge, long summer break. And there was this one worker at the site that started like kind of yelling at the kids and saying, you need to be 6 feet apart, you need to move, come on, move, separate, we need to maintain our distance. And I was thinking, is that what they expect me to do? Did they want me to do that? Because I really don't want to do that. I don't want to be going around, and I mean, they haven't seen each other for so long, and what I saw was not necessarily a bad thing. They weren't like kissing and, getting all too close. They were, they were maybe less than 6 feet apart, but it wasn't anything out of, I would say, something to be concerned about. But in any case, that's exactly where my mind went to, is like, whoa, do they expect me to do this too? Am I expected to do this? And then I kind of, at that point, I recognized, wait a minute, I do have a standard on this one. But that's when I realized that I don't have a standard for a lot of things. I don't have a conscious standard. But this one I did recognize, and there was a little conflict there, because I was like, I think they want me to do that, but I don't want to do that. I don't really think that I need to be the police on this kind of situation. But then it made me realize that there's so many other times where I don't have a conscious standard. And so it's always like, okay, well, I'm not exactly sure how I think about this and how I feel about this, but maybe they can tell me, what is your standard? What is your standard of me? What do you expect of me? And it's not like I'm going around asking people that specific thing. It's like, what do you expect of me here? But I'm paying attention to what, like if I do something, then it's like, okay, there's I can get some feedback on what somebody is doing. And that's really the validation that I'm looking for. It's not always like, oh, you did a good job. And it's not so obvious. That's the thing. It's not like an obvious, oh, Jenny, great job. Thanks for doing that. It's more of, I take one little baby step and see, okay, how did that ripple of my little step affect the world around me, and how did others respond to it? It's like sonar in a sense, where it's like ping, and then I'm seeing how it's bouncing off of the things around me. And so when I don't have a particular standard, or I'm not conscious of it, then that's where it's like, ping, I need to kind of see what are other people, what do I think that they're expecting of me? And I feel so like all in on myself on this. And I can get why a lot of people who are DE saviors think that they're DI, because it's like everything is revolving around me. It's like, well, how do you think about me? What did you think about that? What do you think about that? What do you think about that? And it's a constant of, okay, I did something. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And so that's how it feels like, oh my gosh, I'm thinking about myself all the time, because I'm thinking about how others are receiving me and recepting, or how they're receptive of me, and how how they can tell me what I need to be doing next. But obviously the problem is I'm doing that because I don't know myself. I don't know my own standards. I don't know what my own expectations are of myself. And so I guess if I were to kind of think through, okay, what do I need to do next? Well, then I would have to identify what are my standards and not go directly to what does somebody else expect of me. And on top of that, if my standard is different from someone else, to be able to stand firm on that standard and be able to explain myself. So like that other person, I mean, she never came to me and said, why are you not telling the kids what to do? She never said that to me. I mean, it was still kind of in the back of my mind. I'm thinking like, oh, is she gonna like think I'm not doing the right thing? But I would at least be able to stand firm to what I believe is right in this situation, and maybe yelling at the kids to do that was not how I would choose to act in that particular situation. So it's kind of like replicating that idea, but on a larger scale. I need to be a little bit more cognizant of my own standards and stand firm on my standards a little bit more, because I'm not standing firm on a lot of standards. And to be honest, that's really hard. It's a hard thing to admit, because I mean, I think everybody would say like, oh yes, of course I have standards, but my actions are not saying that. My actions, my thinking is not saying that. What it is saying is that I am unsure, and so therefore I'm looking outward for someone to give me what the standard should be. So yeah, that's just a little dip into the whole expectation thing and what I've been dealing with as far as like outside expectation. So I guess if I would make it more accurate, it would be my perceived outside expectation on me. And so I need to get rid of that kind of thinking. I need to understand myself a little bit better, my standards, and that is gonna take some time. And I think if I approach something where I'm unsure, my response should not be automatically to go outward to see what the expectation is. Is to understand what the outside expectation is, but also think through my own. That's what I'm really not doing. I'm not thinking through what do I think about it. And of course, standards can change and ideas can change and all that, but how do I even change them if I don't even know what they are? That's the catch-22. So that's all that we have for this week, and I hope that you join me next time. It was good to see you. Have a great week. Take time to think through your own thoughts and feel your own feelings, and all the while getting to know yourself a little bit better. Bye. I think I'm looking at the wrong dot. I keep looking at okay. I need to look at that dot. Whoops. It might have looked like I was looking at something else. So I'm looking at you. Am I looking at you? I hope so.